Thank you for being here, guys. I'll go ahead and give you guys a little background on my story and who I am. So my name is Nick Salzman, 38 years old. Got into dowsing probably a little over 10 years ago. Being interested in the paranormal and being a part of the paranormal was something that ever since I was a small little kid, it was always a part of my life. So whether... Thank you. Thank you. See, that's all I need. Tell me, slow it down a little bit, I tell you. So ever since I was a little kid, every house I lived in was pretty much haunted. There was always activity in the houses, ranging from seeing stuff to hearing stuff, whatever it was. There was always something going on. And it wasn't until I was about 25, 26 when I started putting two and two together and thought maybe it's not the houses that are haunted. So I would like to think that we have people here that probably have similar experiences and have been able to be around that kind of activity. And what I'm passionate about is help demystifying some of the mystery behind what's going on, what is in the realms of the unseen, ultimately how are we connected to them, and how we can help them. I know some of the views I'm going to express today might challenge some of these old beliefs, but I very much appreciate you guys being here because I love talking about this, and believe me when I tell you, my wife is looking forward to having someone else to talk about this too. So, starting back ever since I was a kid, being sensitive to stuff, being around, always waking up in the middle of the night, hearing the house settle in specific locations over and over. But the only things that would happen would always seem to be when I was the only one at home or I was the only one awake. So, like I said, it wasn't until I was about 25 or 26 and I started looking into seeing what this really means, primarily because my oldest son started experiencing stuff and he started going through it. And I just didn't want them to be afraid anymore. I wanted them to understand what's going on, and I myself wanted to understand. So putting knowledge in place of what's less understood is how we really step into our true power. So I know we don't have the slides up right now yet, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and get started. And I'm going to introduce you guys into something, maybe it's new for some of you, maybe it's not, into a deep clearing technique that I call the Ha. How many of you guys here have heard of the Ha breath? Okay, great. So we have a few people here that are into it, okay? So basically, in the Hawaiian word, Ha simply means breath of life. This has been talked about through a lot of different cultures throughout the ages. This is by no means new information at all. This is old information, but it's something that we're being able to get a fresh look at it and see how we can incorporate it into our daily life. So the Vedics or the Hindu, they call it prana, life force, right? You guys still hear me okay? We're good? Okay. So... So, and we have Qigong masters that are able to channel chi and move chi around. In Western civilization, the closest thing you're probably going to hear that it's called is called the Holy Spirit. And basically what it comes down to is its life force. And utilizing the breath is the first thing we take coming into this life. It's also the last thing we take when we exit this body. So the breath is actually life force itself, and it ties us to it. So if we learn to harness it, we can direct it and we can pull things into this flow of life that helps revitalize it and help them get to where they need to be. So how does it work? I really like to walk around, so if I step away from the mic. Okay, 1 second. There's the title, Deep Clearing with the Ha. Okay, we talked a little bit about Ha, what it means. Say a little bit how it works. This is something that if we direct this breath with our intention, we can affect the alive and the deceased. We can do a lot of neat stuff with this. So what helps us is our posture. Having our back straight, feet on the floor. And what we do when we do the Ha breath is it engages our solar plexus. Our solar plexus is essentially the battery for our electromagnetic field, for our emotional astral bodies. It's the battery for it, okay? So what we want to do is utilize that battery, align the will of the heart center, align with the will of wanting to help, wanting to assist, makes it a little bit stronger. Then we attach our intention. What do we want to do with it? Where do we want to send it? What are we hoping to achieve by doing this? We attach that intention to it, and it takes something that could be a flashlight, and we condense it, and it turns it into a laser that can touch a planet on the other side of the solar system. Something that very, very much can penetrate some of the deep, deep down-seated emotional stuff, physical stuff that we're experiencing. So how it works is when we initiate the loop is we pull whoever we're working on, alive or deceased, and I see it like a river that's flowing down, and if we initiate the loop, we pull them into that and we let source do all of the clearing. We just use our physical body as a conduit for it. So I hope you guys understand that when we do the breath work, I might be utilizing my breath, but it is not my energy that's doing the work. I'm utilizing the breath because I'm utilizing the life force that flows through me.
Check.
That flows through you, that flows through everything else, and we direct it. How many of you guys have heard of Ho'oponopono before? This was a game changer. So those of you guys that are familiar with Ho'oponopono, it means to make amends on things. It basically translates in English to correction, to correct twice. What we do is it invokes our higher self to cleanse the similar soul memory in the subconscious mind between me, you, and whatever else is there, because all we are is just a reflection of each other. Our inner world reflects our outer world. So Ho'oponopono really helps us fixate on the stored soul memory that we share in common, and that's where we're going to be able to do the clearing. That's what's going to help facilitate healing. So there's 4 main phrases of Ho'oponopono. I love you. I'm sorry, please forgive me, and thank you. Now, these words, the reason why these words are so important is because they have an emotion that's attached to it. We know what it's like to tell somebody, I love you. We know what it's like to tell someone, I'm sorry. We know what it's like to say, please forgive me. We know what it also means to say thank you. So there is definitely an emotional vibration that comes with that. And when we align with that vibration, we can really cause a lot of ripples and do a lot of deep down healing with it. So what I've done is been able to take the Ha breath and Ho'oponopono and combine them together with what I was already doing with the pendulum, and I found some pretty neat stuff that I'm going to share with you guys today. Everyone still hear me okay? Okay, cool. So the way that we do this, doing the Ha breath, it works like this, is you take a deep breath in, and you can hold it for 4 seconds. Then you exhale that breath for about 8 seconds, and then you hold it again. So I breathe in for 4 seconds, hold it, exhale, hold it. This is the loop that we're initiating here. And when I do this, when I breathe in, like say when I'm doing a healing on a disincarnated or a healing on a person, when I breathe in my mind, I'm saying, I love you. When I hold that breath in my mind, I'm saying, I'm sorry. When I exhale that breath, please forgive me. It's a longer breath for a reason. Please forgive me. And we finish it up, we say thank you. One of the things that makes this work even more is if you can attach a little bit of emotion to it. Understand that these are the 4 main words that go with it, right? So if let's say for instance, if there was a family member that was still lingering around, someone that passed away decades ago, and they've been around this entire time, and now I finally am conscious enough to understand that they're there, and now I want to help them. How I would rephrase this is I would do the work, and I would just say, first and foremost, I love you. Thank you for being here. I would let them know I am very sorry for taking this long to get to you. Please forgive me for not understanding how to help in the first place, but now I want to. And then I love you. So anything that we can do to attach a little bit of that emotion to what we're doing, it makes it so much stronger. So with all the different protocols that are out there for clearing and doing this, and I've broke it down into 3 pretty basic ones. Study with everything that I do is trying to take something complicated and put it down in a simple, more user-friendly way that I think people can remember and use. So there's 3 basic things that we want to do when it comes to clearing the disincarnated humans. Is we want to remove all their pain, cure all lesions. Whatever, it's easy for you guys to remember, just remove all their pain. The second would be, it's a little bit longer, but basically it turns into take away their memories of pain. Neutralize any emotional trauma that they are still holding on to. So we take away their pain, take away their memories of pain. And then last and not least, we're going to talk about the Christ spark. How many of you guys have ever heard of a Christ spark before? Okay, for lack of a better term, it's your soul. It's your soul. It's that part of Creator, just like a drop of rain is a part of the ocean. The ocean is vast beyond comprehension, but that water drop is the entire ocean in one drop. That soul inside of you is part of the Creator. The Creator is vast beyond comprehension, but we are tied to that just like the rain is to the ocean. Okay, so you have a Christ spark. I have a Christ spark. The deceased, they have a Christ spark. And so the way that we can direct our healing is to that Christ spark to nourish them. Sometimes they're hungry. Sometimes they're still thirsty. Sometimes they just don't feel right. And if we can nourish them and bring their health back up, allow them to feel full, content, and complete once again, it really does a number. Sometimes we get these entities around the house that are going to throw things because they're really upset. They're not being heard. They want to do stuff to get in your dreams, make, electrical things go off or whatever. When we connect with them and say, hey, I hear you, I see you. Take away their pain, take away their memories of pain, nourish them. And I guarantee you their demeanor very much changes. They now become something that we can work with on a manageable level. It's kind of like if you had your child, right? You had your child, and let's say your child had an injury and they were bleeding really bad, and you took them into the emergency room, right? You're frantic. Someone help my kid, help my kid. And we're looking around at all this medical staff. They all look like someone that's important. And every single one of them you go up to, they either ignore you or they say, oh, I'm sorry, I just do billing. How long is it going to be till you grab one of them and slam them against the wall and say, you need to help my kid? And then we're going to turn around and say, that's a demon. No, they need a lot of help. And we can help them. We absolutely can. So the basis of all of this, it has to come from love. Love and wanting to help is going to be the biggest parts that's going to fuel what we do, okay? So I'm not going to get too far into this. If you guys are interested, I have this on video with the American Society of Dowsers. I did a video on this, but I will touch a little bit on this because, frankly, understanding entities, what they are, how they came to be, I love it. And I could talk about it for a long time. So there's other things I want to do today besides just talk entities with you guys. So we'll talk a little bit about them. So first thing we're going to come across as healers, as clears, is we're going to come across human entities, deceased people. And so often, they carry a Christ spark just like we do. They connect with us through Christ consciousness or the higher self. That's the best way to connect with them. First, we always ask for permission, right? We always ask, may I, can I, should I? That works for you guys too. Okay, we ask for permission to connect to their higher self, to send them healing energy. If we do that, then we can connect with them. We can cross spirits over by having them find their own Christ spark. This is going to be something that it goes both ways, and I kind of was torn about it at first. Having entities go to the light. That's something that I feel, I'm not sure if they really fully get there. I think it kind of puts them back in that loop of reincarnation. I think our ultimate goal is to get them to exit the wheel of reincarnation and then be able to come back whenever they choose. We have that choice to come back. So for me, I found one time I was just curious and I was like, hey, by chance, can you look down in the middle of your chest? Do you see a light there? Yeah, they do. They see a light there. Oh, okay. So we utilize the Ha breath by having them look down into that light after we do the healing on them. And I say, okay, take a deep breath in with me. 1, 2, 3. And then I commence the Ha breath and they get absorbed back into their own divinity, which allows them to be right back with source. Having them exit the loop and be able to come back, usually as a protector. Sometimes you have these parents that lose their kids, right? Or let me rephrase that. The kids lose their parents. And the parents want to stick around and protect the kids. Very, very, very common. And you're going to have a hard time getting them to leave because that's exactly what they want to do. But they don't understand. Mom passed away from a drug overdose. So mom carries the vibration of sickness and addiction with her. So when we cry and we grieve for them, what's the first thing that they naturally want to do with us? They want to come over and comfort us. But because our emotions are so strong and we have a spark of the divine and we have a solar plexus, which gives us a battery for a strong electromagnetic field, they'll come over and hug us and get stuck. And then some of that information of sickness starts transferring into the subtle bodies of the person, which starts manifesting into physical sickness, tumors, cancers, skin diseases, all sorts of that kind of stuff, drug addiction. Very, very similar. So What we do is we get them to understand after we do the healing that if we can get them to go to the light, they can come back and not only be a protector, but bring other family members and beings of light to protect the family. I try and get them to understand in your current state, you're protecting your family with the strength of a 5-year-old child. If we get you full and complete once again and get you to the light, you can come back at this moment like you never left, because they reside outside of time and space. We have the opportunity to make things right with them, to heal them, and they come back with another 12 beings of light and really protect your house. That's what we're looking for. So anybody familiar with family trauma being handed down? Believe me when I tell you, family healing can be handed up. We can heal our entire family. You know, I'll go ahead and say this when it comes down to what can you do? I'm just one person. What can I do? What we're all here for, what I believe, is to help clear our family's traumas. We're all here to help bring an end to some of these things that we're born into. Sometimes, well, more than likely, if you're a healer, you probably came from some sort of an abusive family. That's just the way it works. We usually incarnate into these families that have really strong negative patterns. In my family, it was anger. Anger took the life of every man in my family before the age of 55, including my father. So learning how to deal with it in a healthier way, breaking that chain so that way your kids don't have to deal with it later, I think is a big part of it. You know, I'll tell you a story about this fellow named Jesus. Supposedly came down, Son of God, died for our sins and ascended to the right hand of the Father. Doesn't that kind of sound like the same thing? It doesn't matter who the messenger is. Did you get the message? We can do it. We can help. So poltergeist and tulpa energy are interesting. You're going to find some people that are really good at projecting consciousness, projecting their fears, projecting all sorts of weird things, okay? So poltergeists, I think some of us are familiar with teenagers. Teenagers are really good at creating poltergeist type energy because they're constantly fixating on who they want to be, or maybe they don't like about what they are, just they're trying to figure out who they are as they're growing up in life. So they can create this, it's almost like an etheric clay, would probably be the best way to describe it. A real thick, almost like an energy mist that can be structured and manipulated by our fears. The difference between a poltergeist and a tulpa is done through the use of ceremonial magic and witchcraft and being able to create energies and that kind of stuff. I find that as a residual. The reason why I'm talking about this, because you can see in the photo, there's a kid sleeping and there's a shadow standing in the doorway. So poltergeist energy most of the time is not something that looks like human, but let's say we're in a household, family argues a lot. There's a lot of just disarray in the home. They move out. New family moves in. They got a little kid. Let's say that little girl was abused by a male when she was younger. She has this constant memory of this guy entering her room and this fear of this guy entering her room. It's not going to take long till all of a sudden that child wakes up and sees what standing in the doorway. It is responding. It's like clay, and we structure it. And our fears give it structure. And if we don't clear these things, they take little bits and pieces of people that they come around, different qualities, and they can become something quite complex. How many of you guys have ever heard of any stories where people are like, I heard my husband talk to me upstairs, or he called for me upstairs, but husband was gone at work. Or I heard my kid call for me in the middle of the night and my kids were asleep, or they weren't even at home, but I heard their voice. Poltergeist energies can manipulate, and they can also take on certain tones of other people. This is a very advanced case if you come across one of these. They can mimic other people's sounds and voices and habits. It's just the way that they are. But it takes a lot to get to that point. But believe me when I tell you, these are super easy to clear. Super easy to clear. So we'll go ahead and move on. One of the things, if you do see a tulpa energy that's very advanced, these are the type of things you're going to see. Sometimes people or kids see them that have big, bright, white eyes. Sometimes even teeth. I've heard them reported as teeth. And like I said, tulpas are something where it's almost like a residue from using like ceremonial magic or witchcraft. And so they're a little bit different. And oftentimes they react and turn into different animals that people fear, such as dogs, wolves, snakes, and spiders. Sometimes you've heard of etheric spiders before, people seeing massive spiders on the wall. It's tulpa. So non-human entities. The main difference between a non-human entity and a human is they don't have a Christ spark. Non-human entity is basically a very general term. This covers a lot of different things, whether it be shadow person, incubus, Jinn, Ifrits, that kind of stuff. These are all non-human things. They don't have a spark of the divine inside of them. So because of that, they do not have a physical body. So we handle them a little bit different. Most of the time, they do not want to be here. They may want to stick around only because they don't know any better. Someone would tell me, well, this thing attacks people and it vampires off people and it sucks away their energy. And I said, well, let me tell you about a mosquito. They drink blood off people. They go from host to host to host. Would you call a mosquito evil? Or would you just say that's what it does? That's what it do. That's, it's not evil. That's just what it does. Okay. So they can be seen that way as almost kind of like almost like a mosquito, I guess you could say. And these things are also very good at affecting our electronics and can even get into our dreams. They connect with us on a mental level. They don't have the Christ sparks and on the soul level, but on a mental level, they're absolutely there. So they can connect with us there. We can have our dreams affected. We can have televisions turn on, lights turn off, all that kind of stuff when we're around non-human entities. So this is one of the things that I like talking about a lot, is the jinn. How many of you guys have ever heard of red-eyed shadow people? Or anything with like bright red glowing eyes, that kind of stuff? Anybody ever heard or dealt with anything like that? Okay. So these have been known by a lot of different names through cultures and stuff. If you look in the Quran, they talk about the shaitan. Shaitan are almost kind of like a magical priest that is a jinn. And what jinn are is they're a different being altogether. We didn't create them. They are from the creator, but they were also here before us. They have no body to them. They are all mental and etheric. They can do some pretty neat things. They can teleport from place to place. They can throw stuff across the house, and they can also set off your smoke alarms in the middle of the night. How many guys ever dealt with that before? Yep. So I don't think there's anything much more jarring than setting off all your smoke alarms at 3 a.m. while you're trying to sleep and trying to get those things to go off. But if you got smoke alarms going off in your house, you have a jinn. So let me tell you a little bit about them, though. They have clans. Sometimes you see them with green eyes, red eyes, yellow eyes. And let me tell you, they do not all get along with each other. They don't. They're very interesting, and they're definitely the type that over time, people have abused these things. And so because of that, they have a real bad taste in their mouth about us. And so they can be the ones that can really cause a lot of issues. These, frankly, are polarity flippers. These are the type that if they get around you, they can make a calm person angry. They can make a really confident person extremely depressed. And in the right cases, in the right scenario, these things can even make people flip and want to be the other sex when they're a little bit older. It's a polarity flipper. I'm not saying that they're the cause of it. I'm just saying what they do is they flip polarities on people all the time. That's just being around their presence. It's not their intention to do it necessarily. It's just what they do when you're around them. The reason why they have such a bad taste in their mouth about us is because somewhere along the lines, I think back in ancient times, people would consult these things for knowledge because they're extremely smart, and their perspective on time is very different than ours. They live a very long time without a body, and they're interdimensional. They have a very different outlook on things. So people first started consulting these things for knowledge. And then it didn't take very long for people to realize that if we do witchcraft, we can hold dominion over them with it. And I'm just going to tell you right now, we don't want to do that. Don't want to do that. You can go into places like Afghanistan and Pakistan, and you can find someone in a village that says, oh, I have a jinn that can help you find a good job or bring you money, or I have a jinn that can help you find the next love of your life. Okay. And that's just it. People would make these things do stuff. When people would put a hex or a curse or something like that on people, and they say, hey, I want you to go make this person's life miserable. I want you to go make their children sick. They get polarized with this intention, and they cannot remove it from themselves. So what happens? It's just like when you have a pit bull. Everybody knows a pit bull is a really good, friendly family dog, very protective over the kids. But if you beat that pit bull and you fight that pit bull becomes quite dangerous, and definitely something that you wouldn't want around your kids. These are the epitome of that. Being beat on. I don't want to describe them as a dog because they are not a dog. But if you are willing to help them out, they will definitely respond. As soon as I started clearing these guys, a lot of them started showing up in different locations. And they're always coming around. They're always there. But if you know how to release them, they will never attack you or your family. Why would they? You know how to release them, and they want you to help them. And like I said, they're really a lot of them are kind of upset, but not all of them are bad, right? There's some people that are out there that are walking earth angels. And there's some people out there that are murderers. psychopaths, killers. But that doesn't mean that all humans are that way. They're the same thing. Few of them give them a bad rap, but at the same time, if we help them, I'm not going to say that they protect you because they have other ambitions. That's not what they're about. But I will say that if you help them, they will seek you out for sure. And if you have experienced anything like this in your life, it's a really good possibility that you helped them in another lifetime and that they're here to help to find you again. When I was a young kid, I would see these things and they scared the hell out of me. I had no idea what I was looking at. And all I know is I was the only one in the family that was seeing the stuff. And I'm like, no, like there is something going on here. Oh, you were probably just still dreaming. No, like, no, this was very vivid, very real. And so now I know that there was a lifetime where I would assist these things and help them. And I don't call on them and ask them for favors. I don't do anything like that. All I do is help them get out of the loop because they're stuck in limbo, just like a lot of disincarnates are. So I just help them get out of the loop. I don't ask them for favors or do anything like that. In fact, I don't really encourage creating much of a dialogue with these. Do the work, move on. So succubus and incubus energies, these are the type that they're also kind of projections of human consciousness. And anytime we're dealing with like a poltergeist, tulpa, or a succubus and incubus, we can't send them to the light. They're not part of the light. They don't go to the light. What we have to do is, since these come from projected consciousness, all of our thoughts, everything that we can create as an idea first, we pull from what I would consider the universal mind. What we all pull from, as I call it, the universal mind. So projections of consciousness, we do take away any pain that they're holding on to, take away the memories of pain that they're holding on to, and then we call upon some spiritual assistance. All of us here have some sort of a spirit guide or guardian or someone that we can call upon. If you don't know who they are yet, you can still call upon them and they will assist you. We call upon the assistance of divine beings to help transport non-human entities back to where they need to go. Okay, does that make sense? Whereas with a human, we can have them look into their own light and get absorbed into divinity on their own. These we have to call upon assistance for. So believe me when I tell you, we call upon the angels for assistance, right? They will bring things into your life for you to help too. You don't have to get to heaven to be an angel yet. You can do it right here on earth. And you can create that right here on earth and be of service to them by helping each other do the work. And you'll find too, you get good at it, your guides will probably bring you some more too. So these are the type that they're going to affect your dreams, sometimes give off sensations of like intimacy and stuff. Like when you're dreaming, sometimes we wake up and we're like, what the heck was that? That's just kind of how they are. Once again, they're like mosquitoes. That's just what they do. I used to work in the nightlife industry. I used to check IDs at the door. I used to throw out people to fight. I used to do all that kind of stuff. These are so common down in that nightlife industry. Very, very common. People that desire stuff, whether it's the flesh, alcohol, whatever that is. They all like that stuff and they're very attracted to that stuff. So people that go out and do a lot of nightlife, they're probably going to run across one of these eventually. So the collective entities, this is something that is very, really important to understand. There's three things that can create a collective entity. One is an overdose, another is suicide, and third, cancer. And so how many of you guys have heard of hereditary family illnesses? Maybe it's brain tumors that get handed down in the family. Maybe it is ovarian cancer that gets handed down in the family. Whatever, right? So what happens in a nutshell, we have someone, let's talk suicide for a second. We have someone that decides to take their own life. Most of the time, they're unsure that they even died because they still feel their pain. And they realize that they're not necessarily in heaven right now. They're kind of in like a limbo state, right? And they're hurting. They don't know what to do. Someone cries for them, grieves for them. What do they want to do? They come up. They want to hug them. They want to comfort them. Let them know you're still here and I'm really sorry. They stick around that person long enough. That information starts transferring to them. The feelings of suicide start transferring to them. The feelings of being really overwhelmed or out of place or just not loved, forgotten, whatever, you name it. That stuff starts transferring to the person. Let's say that person takes their life. Now there's two. And now they're together. And now you got one, you got both. And I've seen collectives, usually collectives are right around like 2 2 to 4, but I've seen them up around like 7 or 9 different entities. These are huge in hospitals. You're going to find a lot of hospitals. So anytime that we go in a hospital and I know that I'm going into a hospital to visit someone, I clear the floors. I clear all the floors, and I clear all the medical staff, and I clear all the rooms, just so then that way if we have anything lingering around, it's out. Because sometimes the nurses, man, we have to pray for them a lot. The nurses and doctors, they are jumping in people's bubbles. They are jumping in their energy field, and they'll go from one client to another. And if they have something and it comes with them, they could put it right back on somebody else. So it's just kind of the way it works. And it's important to understand this is how things are created, because it really puts a big spin on the understanding of hereditary family illnesses. Cancers can be handed down in family. Healing can be handed up through family. So collective entities, the cool thing about them is if you have a group of 7, I don't have to work on them individually. I can work on them at the same time because they're all together. And then from there, we can clear them all at the same time. If I can do it, believe me, you can do it. So astral fragments is also another thing that affects the majority of us. A lot of times we talk about children being born sensitive, right? And kids are open, they're more perceptive to things. But what would have a child, someone that is, let's say, less than 2 years old, 1 year old, and all of a sudden you have like a really strong dark energy that's like around this child? Fear-based programming is going to tell you that they're trying to take that child. They're trying to do this and that. What I have found, like I said, this is a little challenging to some beliefs. What I have found is when, let's say, mother is carrying a child, and let's say mother loses the child. Miscarriage, abortion, stillborn, these are the kinds of things. The physical component of the child leaves the body. The energy remnants of the child remain. And then what happens is they usually fill that space with grief, sorrow, anger, really, really heavy emotions, right? And let's just say the anger. The next child that is born to that womb, that comes out of that womb, now has almost an energy signature attached to it of anger, right? And then what happens is entities come around because of a similar vibration. Similar attracts similar. And so if you have the vibration of anger and resentment and feeling forgotten and all this and that, or whatever it is that's radiating from your energy, you're going to attract things that are exactly the same way. They're angry, they feel forgotten, and they're going to want to make their presence known. So we can heal these fragments and we can get them to merge back with their higher self or their core soul, and just understand that this is something that like affects, I would say, at least 80% of the human population. It is very, very prevalent. I myself am also one of it. The weird thing about it is when you have a child that's born from there being like an abortion or stillborn or a miscarriage or something like that, is they have a tendency to be very, very sensitive. With women, I see it a lot come out in like little kids, anxiety and depression. With men, rage and anger, big time. So have an inability of being impatient or get really angry and get triggered really easy? Absolutely. So in my family, anger was the thing that was kind of handed down. I find a lot of truth in dealing with these astral fragments. And once again, we heal the fragments just like we do anything disincarnated. Remove their pain. Remove the memories of pain and whatever toxic emotion that's attached to it. And then from there, we nourish that Christ spark. And depending on the severity, usually if it's just astral fragments, we can get it clearing on its own. But when it comes down to an absorbed twin in the family lineage, this is when I usually call upon assistance. Now, absorbed twin in the family lineage can really cause a lot of weird stuff down the line, like weird skin conditions, weird like tumors and growths that grow on people, and just sometimes like really, really bad like eczema and this kind of stuff. Like a lot of that kind of stuff is really prevalent. So in that case, we do the healing and then we call upon the assistance of a being of light that can help remove what needs to be removed and then get it to go where it needs to go. So why would we want to help the disincarnated? This is something where a lot of people are like, look, that's cool. I like what you do, but that ain't for me. So why would we want to help the disincarnated? Well, maybe some of you guys that disincarnated already chose you. We have the opportunity to set balance in this life. We have the opportunity to help people. And the best part I like about doing what I do is it's like going in the back door and taking them out of someone's house at night when everyone's sleeping, and almost like a ninja, and no one knows that you're there and undetected. Like, I love that part. I love being able to just work that way, kind of in the shadows and in silence, and don't necessarily need the, oh, he's great, he's terrific, or da 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 da. Like, thank you, but that's not why I do it. I do it because I want to do it, and I'm really interested in it. And so helping the disincarnated, when we do this, guys, it aligns us with unconditional love. We actively bring that into us the more that we practice it, right? And this, frankly, it cancels out and clears all your negative karma. Being of service now is huge, because people that don't necessarily be of service in their life, maybe they work too hard. Maybe they just are kind of like responsibility over everything, right? Responsibility to provide for your family caps over everything that we wanted to do in life. That's fine. But being of service and wanting to help, if we don't do it in this lifetime, we're going to do it in between lives before we incarnate into the next body. So if we can do it now, our position within the next point of our spiritual evolution, we really are becoming a being of light, because we already are. We just have to keep removing the layers of what we identify ourselves with. White male, with tattoos, come from Oregon. That's not me. What I'm telling you is about the kind of vehicle I'm driving, but no one wants to know about who's behind the wheel. They don't want to know what channel you're listening to on the radio. I identify with who's behind the wheel. Okay. I might be born this way this time, but I think, like many of you, we believe in past lifetimes. We believe that there is much, much more than what we're seeing, who we are and what we're about. So helping people when they need help, we can help them, plain and simple. And if we assist them, they are absolutely going to assist us. I'll tell you, when I work with someone, they got maybe a grandpa lingering around who was a workaholic and also an alcoholic and was a little abusive to the family. And now he just wants to be acknowledged because he's still lingering around. I help grandpa. Grandpa now understands, I should have treated people better in life. What does he do? He becomes a being of light, and now he starts bringing either other people from the family or other people just like them to you. He is now operating at a level of service to the light. And that is going to help him transition to his next stage of spiritual development, cancel and clear all of his negative karma in the meantime. So why do we want to help? Because it helps us too. And when we also put ourselves first, we also put them first. Does that make sense? So aligning with free will, this is huge. This is huge. We can't do anything against their free will. We have to get them to agree to want to leave or to do this and that. And, it's kind of like I don't want to sound sleazy or anything, but it's kind of like being a good car salesman. Car salesman has you come in, sit you down. Hey, thank you for being here. And I'm going to ask you questions, but I'm going to ask the questions in the direction that I want to navigate the conversation. I'm not just going to let you ramble on to me. I'm going to ask questions to navigate the conversation the direction that I want to take it. Does that make sense? That's the art. That's the fine part that we work with and what we get better at. So free will, it can't be infringed on if we want to properly clear an entity. I can't just say, you out, I'm going to banish you. They might leave and come back or go find someone else to bother. But we're not looking to banish. We're not looking to bind. We're not looking to do anything like that. What we want to do is help them get out of their suffering, get out of their pain, and help bring them back to balance, bring them within harmony, and make this world a better place. That's what we're looking for. That's what we want to do. When we work on human entities, we are granted permission through the higher self. If it was someone sent me a photo of their house and I found something there, oh, okay, Grandpa's here. Do I have permission to connect through Grandpa's higher self and send him healing energy? I get a yes, then I'm granted permission. Okay, if I get a no, which I rarely get a no, usually it means there's a better time to do it. Maybe you're like exhausted or whatever the case is, or you need to understand something different. I rarely get a no, but if you do run into a no, try again later. When we work with non-human stuff, shadow people, jinn, succubus, incubus, we create a mental connection because they are mental body. We are also mental body. And so that's the connection that we make is mentally. And I can just do it in my head. I can speak out loud. But anytime that I come across something that's non-human, like especially like a jinn, I'll call it my brother. Say, you are my brother. And from this side of my perspective, I can help you. And I know you need some help right now. Would you allow me to help you? I don't see them as something lower than me. I see them something that is equal, but something, no matter what, deserves respect and love. Like I said, I don't ask them for favors or anything like that, but I show them love and I show them respect. And believe me when I tell you, they respond. Because we show them anger and we show them discontent, and they will respond. So, like I said, they're definitely the type that I don't make friends with them, but I definitely don't make enemies with them. And I'm sure there's some out there that don't like what I'm doing, but at the end of the day, if I get a chance to get with them, I help them too. We have the ability to counsel and educate those that have passed. That's a big time too, is helping them understand their position and that they can actually get to where they need to go. And one question that I always get asked is, what do you do when one does not want to cross? No matter what you say to them, no matter what you do with them, what do you do when they don't want to cross? Well, first of all, you don't force them. Don't force them. We can't do that. We can't align with free will if we force them. That's not love. But there is a little technique that I've learned of placing a bubble of light around them, and I explain to them what I'm going to do. And some of my other stuff, I've talked about it. It's called psychic capture, but I just say a bubble of light around them when I say, tell you what if I say I can give you a preview of this place? See what it looks like, see what it feels like without you actually making the agreement to go. We can check it out, and if it looks like a place that you want to stay, you can stay, and if you don't want to, you don't want to. So I go, and they say, okay, that sounds great. Put a bubble of light around them, ask to transport them to the Christic planes, to source, to heaven, whatever you want to call it, right? Send them there. Let them sit there for, 10, 20 seconds, and then say, okay, do you see what it's like here? And they'll get a yes. And mind you, I do everything with a pendulum too. So, I get the yes or no's with the pendulum on this stuff. And then I say, okay, does this look like a place that you would like to stay? And they're like, yeah. And I go, fine, boom. I bring them right back to the present moment. Bring them right back to the present moment, take the bubble off of them. Now, is that a place that you would like to go? Yes. Now I've aligned with their free will. Now I've got them to agree with it. But I had to show them what it was like to do it. I've also done the opposite. And I've had to do it with something that really didn't want to go. They were just really in an upset state. But like I said, when you do the healing on them first, it really changes their demeanor big time. You have to do the healing on them first. But I've even had it where I've had to show them, look, if you carry on with this behavior of like terrorizing people and doing this and that, I said, let me show you what your next reality is going to look like. And I'll put a bubble of light around them. And I'll send them to a reality that has their entire karmic weight applied to it. All the debt they have to redeem. It is not a fun lifestyle. It is not a fun place to be. You don't want to be there. Have them experience that. Have them see what's that's like. Is this a place you would like to stay? No. All right. Bring them back. Now, would you like to listen? You know what I mean? Because that's not where they want to go. Now they would do just about anything they can to not go to that place, including listening to what you have to say. So like I said, direct the conversation with your questions. Don't let them take advantage of all it, because in fact, I see a lot of people get lost in that stuff where they ask a lot of questions. They want to know the who, the how, the when, the where, the why. Don't worry about it. Do the work. After you do the work, after you cross them over, then ask your questions. Don't waste your time and energy on trying to get answers from them before we heal them. It's very, very important. So pendulum choices for different situations. You see, I got a little crystal one over there on the side. It's actually a Vogel course that was turned into a believer by Patty O'Brien. I don't know if any of you guys have heard of her. She's a wonderful lady down in Georgia. She actually grew up over here in the Flagstaff and Phoenix area. She grew up out over here. She lives in Georgia now, but she makes these crystals and puts wire wrapping on them, and we turn them into some really neat pendulums. So very good for in-person stuff, doing clearings like on your own house or in a room where you're at someone else's house. They have activity. Crystal will be very good for that. You have the universal pendulum. That one's wood. It does have a metal core to it, but I find that the wooden ones are really good at working on the physical body. Yes, they work at a distance. Yes, we could do a lot of stuff with it, but specifically working on the physical body. Wood, I just think it has an organic component to it that really aligns with our physical body. And I found wooden pendulums really, they help the mind, issues with the mind, PTSD, massive amounts of depression or self-sabotaging behavior. Maybe there was a car accident and ever since then someone's had a tic or a stutter. I don't know. You know what I mean? Just either way, there's some sort of trauma to their consciousness. The wooden pendulums work really, really well for that stuff. Anytime you want to work on yourself, I highly recommend a wooden pendulum. And then we just have kind of like a cone-shaped brass pendulum out there. That's all your distance work. General dowsing, we can dowse with anything. You don't even need a pendulum to dowse. You can use your body if you want. But when I'm doing distance work, something with a good point on it, I found really, really helps. And I mean, talking about the different color spectrums that we can utilize for different stuff, that is a whole nother talk in itself. And I'd rather stick on subject and bypass that. But if you guys are interested in that color therapy, I do have a video on YouTube that talks about sub-personalities, multiple personalities, and in that I talk a lot about utilizing different colors for therapeutic reasons, utilizing the pendulum. Okay, so in short, crystal for in-person, wooden for personal, brass for distance. There we go. We talked a little bit about the metal pendulums. That's a handful of mine that I've created. The far left one is the one I pretty much use now. It's the Ock pendulum. That one I use to do about 90% of my clearings. Next one's the Furba. The next one after that is the Hakao. And then I have a Sekhmet on the far right-hand side. These are all pendulums of my design, something that I found works well with what I do. People have many different pendulums, and if you're like me, you probably have quite a few. I like to try them out and see which ones work better in different scenarios, or you might have one or two go-to ones that you use for just about everything. So we talked a little bit about the crystals, and one of the things that it's important to understand about crystals, when we utilize crystals, people know that they absorb energy, right? And they can absorb energy, so it's very, very important to help clear these things too. People have very different techniques. When I usually do the clearing, if you want to have something else, put it on a piece of, selenite. Put it in a bowl of salt, put it in the sun. There's a lot of different things you can do. For me personally, I just put my hands over it and I pray on it and I clear it by utilizing the breath and utilizing my prayer and intention on top of it. That seems to work really, really well for me. And one of the things you got to be careful about, I'll be honest with you, you have to be careful about bringing crystals into your home, especially smaller ones, because there is an old method that people would use when you talk about the jinn, that they can trap them in crystals. And then they would bury them or throw them on a trail or do whatever it is. And then someone's walking their dog. Oh, look at this thing. This is nice. Well, shoot. Put it in your pocket. And the next thing you know, a couple of days later, your smoke alarms are going off in the middle of the night because you brought something into your house. So just remember, it is important to clear these things. And just by looking at a crystal, we can extract what's in it and clear it. But be careful. Be careful about bringing that stuff in your home, because I think a lot of people here would be sensitive enough that if you walked into a crystal shop, whether it was with one crystal or not, they might be like, oh, that person looks helpful. I'm just going to go ahead and go with them, right? And why do they follow you? Because it's cold where they're at. Where they're around you, it's warm. You hear these talks about hell. Hell is not a fiery place. It's not full of fire, and it's not full of what you would be told it is. I could tell you, it's dark, it's cold, it's miserable. Imagine jumping out of a pool and there being wind, and no matter what you do, you can't get warm. That's what it's like. Very, very miserable feeling. So when you come walking by, all of a sudden you're this, oh, wow, man, you're nice and warm right here. Man, I'm going to hang out with this guy for a little bit, right? They don't know any better. All they know is when they're around you, their pain goes away a little bit. That's why they follow us around. So we talked a little bit about wooden pendulums, good for balancing chakras, aids in treating the mind and disassociation of consciousness. Like I said, it has amazing healing properties when we work on ourselves with. So let's get back to the nitty gritty. So initiating the loop with the Ha. This is something that if you guys are open, I'd like to see if we can practice this real quick. I want to see if we can all practice this and see if you guys can just feel this, because my goal is not to necessarily teach you what I'm doing, but to teach you this and then let this be applied to what all of you are doing individually and watch it raise up what you're doing. Because I'm telling you, working with this over the past couple years, this definitely helps amplify the senses. It's really developed the inner vision, the clairvoyance. It's really developed a lot of the feeling people's energies. It's very much developed sight, inner vision, clairvoyance, claircognizance, all these like special abilities that they say only psychic people have. Believe me when I tell you, if I can do this stuff, you can do this stuff. Or if you would know me 15 years ago and where I come from, something like this was definitely way over my head or even over my interests. So believe me when I tell you that this is something that we can all do. So what we're going to try real quick, we're just going to go through it real quick, is the way that I do this is I go 4 seconds. We go breathe in, hold it, exhale, and make the sound Ha. hold it. The reason why we go, just like we're like breathing our breath into someone's face, we do that. You can feel it right here. It engages the solar plexus, which is our battery. So when we and get that breath going, it really engages our electromagnetic field and makes what we do very strong. So what we're going to try is we're going to do the breath again, but this time when we breathe in your mind, I want you to say, I love you. When we hold it, I'm sorry. When we exhale, please forgive me. Hold it, thank you. Here we go. Let's try it. Ready? Go. Very good. So this works really, really well for even just balancing yourself and getting yourself feeling a little bit better, okay? So at this point, I think we're going to have a little bit of fun here. I'm going to bypass some of these protocols. If you guys want to find this, I'm also on, you can find my Pendulum Metrics page. This is a video that I have on there, so you can go through all the protocols. You guys can also email me, and I can send them to you individually if you like. So just let me know. But I'm going to bypass this because I want to get into the nitty-gritty. Okay, so we're going to have a little bit of fun now. Let's, where are they at? Right here. So I saw this. I'm going to move away from the mic. Can you guys still hear me okay? Yeah. So someone once told me this, and I thought it was really, really funny, so I went to the medical store and I got it. We have in one hand in each other a red rock and a blue rock, the blue pill and the red pill. And right now, I offer you the blue. We're going to bring you one. If we're going to be satisfied with this information, but maybe doing the kind of clearing and stuff, fantastic, thank you. All right, this is better. So if you're happy having the blue pill, take the knowledge for what it's worth. See you later. Have a good day. If you want to take the red pill, we're going to go down this rabbit hole a little bit farther. But I will give you fair warning. If you choose to do this, to dedicate yourself, I'm not talking about just from here, but if this sounds like something you want to incorporate into what you're doing, if you want to be at that level of service, the universe will respond, and they will bring you others that need help. So the reason why I'm giving you the blue pill, red pill scenario is because we're going to do something that's going to create some ripples right now. And those ripples are going to leave with you. And you're going to be someone that's going to be of service. I'm sure most of you already are. So I think a lot of this fits with you guys, but I just want you to know that when we do this work, others will find us that need help. And so if you're okay with that, then we can take that red pill and go a little bit farther. So if you want to leave, now's a good time for it. No judging, no judging. Let's see, let me get a chair. It'll help me sit down. Let me grab this chair real quick. So do I have a couple volunteers first? Someone that can tell me, because what we're going to do, opening ceremony, how many were there at opening ceremony last night? Okay, what did we call in? All the land spirits, right? All the ancestors. Well, we didn't just call them here for popcorn. We called them in here because the best way that I know how to show them gratitude is by giving them my love and giving them energy and giving them what I would desire if I was stuck in between frequencies. So what we're going to do is we're going to do a clearing right now. And if we have somebody that has some sort of chart or maybe can douse a number, this is just because I'd like to see what it looks like at the end of this. We're going to see how many we can get to show up, and then we're going to clear them all. This is going to be really cool, having this many people all doing the breath. It's been a very, very long time since something like this has been done. So I thank you all for being here and being a part of this. This is the main reason why I came down here, is to do this work with you guys. So what we're going to do, if anyone's ever lived in any kind of haunted house, or if anybody knows that they might have family members lingering around, I want you to call upon them right now. Call upon them and ask them to join. If you've ever seen anything in a house and you're like, what the heck was that? Remember it, ask it to join us right now. We're going to work on them. Okay, we'll give a minute. Let you guys breathe, invite them all in here real quick. Check, check. Perfect. Okay, thanks, guys. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you guys, this is what I do. This is what I enjoy doing. This is what I feel guided to do. And we're going to do some clearing right now, okay? And so when we do the breath work, you guys are just going to listen to me. And what I'm going to do is every time you hear this, initiate the breath work, okay? Just initiate the breath work. And you'll see my hand go up. I'll do this, kind of like what we just did before. So first and foremost, always start with a prayer of protection. Universal knowledge, we ask to surround this place in the highest light. We ask to protect us from all negativity and let only beings that reside in the highest of light be allowed to help us at this time. We ask to naturally repel anything that doesn't serve our highest good health and well-being. And we thank you for allowing us to serve the light. So, right off the bat, the very first thing is I want to know is, do we have any disincarnated entities here? Absolutely, we do. Okay, if someone has the ability to draw a number, great. If not, it's not that important. Okay, all I'm doing up here, guys, is I have this crystal pendulum that was specifically made for this situation. So I'm going to be spinning this up here. So if you're wondering what I'm holding, this is it right here. Okay, so I'm going to ask universal knowledge, do we have any non-human entities here that need some assistance? We do. Do we have our jinn brothers here with us? Okay, I always clear them first. Let them go first because they have a ability to help block clearings a lot of times. Okay, so it's going to go like this. I'm going to say, universal knowledge, do I have permission at this time to make a mental connection with all jinn and all non-human entities here at this time? Okay, I get a yes. And I say, okay, thank you. Do we have that connection at this time? Yes. Okay, and I say, greetings, my name is Nick, and I greet you in light and love of the Creator, and I'm here to help. I've been sent here by the light to see if I can offer you some assistance. First of all, can you guys hear me? Yes. Are you in pain or discomfort at this time? Yes. I can help you remove your pain. Would you like for me to assist you? Yes. I say, okay, please relax, open up, and receive this healing energy. Universal knowledge, I ask that we remove all pain and cure all lesions in our jinn brothers at this time. Ready? Nice job, you guys. That cleared really quick. Okay. Universal knowledge, I ask that we depolarize all negative mental stimuli and neutralize all toxic emotional trauma stored in the bank of memory and energy field of all jinn here with us at this time. Again. Nice job, you guys. In universal knowledge, last but not least, and understand since they don't have a Christ spark, we don't send energy to the Christ spark, but we can still nourish them. Universal knowledge, at this time, do we have permission to send nourishing energy to all of our jinn brothers and allow them to feel full, content, and complete once again? Yes, we do. I ask to send unconditional love energy to nourish all jinn here with us at this time. Thank you. All right, are you guys feeling a little bit better? Yes. Would you like the opportunity to go back to your home dimension and join your family? Yes, we can help you, but first let's call upon someone that can assist us at this time. The person that I call upon, I call her the Holy Mother. She's been known by many, many different names. Some of you guys might know her as Mary. Definitely someone that is very helpful. I call upon the Holy Mother. Do we have permission to call upon her at this time? Yes. Holy Mother, are you with us at this time? Can we ask for your assistance and help transporting these jinn back to their home dimension? Yes. All right. Now we go back to the jinn. All right, brother. Do you see a being of light there with you guys? Is she asking you to go with him? Will you go with them? Yes. We have now aligned with their free will. Here we go. Take a breath. Thank you. Holy Mother, at this time, I appreciate you helping us transport these jinn back to their home dimension. Do we have any that still need help being transported? Thank you. Yes. We have some that are a little reluctant to go. So what we tell them is that no matter what, there is no harm that's going to come to you. You're not going to be punished for where you're going. The only thing that's going to be with you is peace and serenity for all eternity. Are you willing now to go back to your home dimension? Thank you. Universal knowledge, with the assistance of our Holy Mother, we ask that we remove all jinn from this building, from this land, from all timelines, future, past, present, and parallel, known and unknown, and ask that we merge them back with their home dimension, divinely, instantly, and painlessly. How we successfully cleared all jinn from the land. Yes. Nice job, you guys. Nice job. All right, we're halfway there. So now we're going to work with all human entities. Do we have any disincarnated humans here with us at this time? Yes. Do we have permission to connect to all of their higher selves at the same time and send them healing energy? Yes. All right, we asked to do so at this time. And you're going to find it's a little repetitive, but it works. So, greetings, thank you for being here. My name is Nick, a greet in light and love of the Creator. Did you just see what I did with the jinn? Thank you. Are you guys in pain right now? I can help you remove your pain. Would you like for me to assist you? Please relax, open up, and receive this healing energy. Universal knowledge at this time, we ask to remove all pain and cure all astral lesions and all earthbound human spirits. Universal knowledge, we ask to depolarize all negative mental stimuli, neutralize all toxic emotional trauma stored in the bank of memory and energy field of all human spirits here at this time. Thank you. All right, universal knowledge, I ask that we send nourishing, unconditional love energy to the Christ spark of all human entities here at this time. Allow them to feel full, content, and complete once again. All right, is everyone here feeling a little bit better? Yes. Is anybody here afraid to go to the light at this time? Would you like to go to the light and join your family and friends once again? Yes, we've aligned with their free will. At this time, can you do me a favor? Can you look down in the middle of your chest and tell me, do you see a light there? I ask that you look into this light and gaze into this light and take a deep breath in with me. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Ready? Thank you. Universal knowledge, how we successfully cleared all human entities. How we successfully cleared all non-human entities. Yes. Do we have anything else here that needs to be cleared? No. At this time, I'd like to express my gratitude and thank you for letting us be a part of this. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to help those that need it. And thank you for allowing us to do thy will through us. Let thy will be done through me as it is done. We are grateful for this day and honored to serve the light. In your name we pray. Amen. So, big scary clearings, that's what it's all about. that's what it's all about, you guys. Let me move this. I'm gonna stand up real quick. So some of you guys have seen me do some of this stuff, whether it's like online or in Facebook or some of these paranormal groups. This is what I do. This is how I do it. I don't need to necessarily go to people's houses anymore. All you have to do is just do it from home. But I will tell you this, doing it for a little bit, I've been doing the breath for a couple years. I've been doing clearings for a little over 10, but the breath work for about 2 years. And I can tell you that the better you get at it, there's other things that come along with it. For instance, I used to always need a picture. Show me a picture of inside the house. Show me a picture of the person. I can connect and go from there. Now, all I just need is someone just to shoot me a message, and I can close my eyes, and I can find points into their house. And utilizing this breath, if you have something at somebody's house and you want to clear and get it out, I can take a breath, and I can drag everything out of that house and bring it right to me. I can also do this in dreams, too. So this is something that if you guys are interested in doing this kind of stuff, it's going to open up other possibilities. So when we talk about like the jinn, these are the type that can jump from one place to another. They can teleport, and they're not going to do it to terrorize you. They're going to do it because they're like, oh, this person gets it. They figured it out. Hold on, can you help me? But if we know they're there and we ignore them, then we can start picking up on some of the other things that they do. So this breath work works for a lot of different things. Anybody here into Reiki? Okay. Whether your hands are on a person or not, doing the work, utilize that breath work. One of the things that I found a lot is working with some of the stuff that's in the subconscious by putting my hands on the back sides of the head and doing the breath work. Sometimes old belief systems are just implanted, ingrained in us from growing up. You're not pretty, or you're not appreciated, or no one's going to love you, or you don't deserve love. All this kind of stuff that brings us down. Work on that subconscious. Utilize the breath work, and then implement positive thoughts into them. You are divine. You are unique. You are loved. And there is no one out here like you. And that's a good thing. So this breath work is something that it can really amplify a lot of stuff. And my hope with you guys is to help demystify some of this clearing stuff and just know that it causes ripples. And there's a lot of things on the other side that are cheering for you, that can't wait to see you guys take this to the next level. And that is really my hope. Hopefully give you guys some information about clearings and different kinds of beings, but really utilize this breath work. Help it balance you. If it balances you, it'll balance the life around you. And it's going to be really one of those things that it's a tool for life. Implement it in what you guys are doing, and hopefully it takes it to the next level. So that's pretty much it. I have a couple books that I came out with. None of this really talk about the breath work. This is all kind of before then. The blue book, that's a big resource for like supernatural clearings and stuff. It's huge. It was like, I had this massive stack of papers and notes. It looked like a mad scientist corner. It was just all sorts of just crazy stuff everywhere. I compiled it all and put it into a book, and that's my first one. The second one I have available, I have a table over there with a bunch of those, $20, it's spiral bound. It's been available by ebook only. I've actually printed up some copies. So if you guys want a physical copy of it and you don't need Wi-Fi to look at it, it's on my table over there. I have some of my pendulums over there too. I'm giving you guys a discounted rate for coming to the show. I want to put these pendulums in the hands of capable people. And so some of you guys will see that my designs are a little unique. But I really want them to land in the hands of people that are interested in working with them, because I think you're going to find that they're going to cause some good results. So at this time, I'd like to open it up and see if anybody has any questions about anything. Yes, in the back.
We have a microphone for
Does it matter what order you make this 4 statements in?
Yes. In my personal experience, in that order I found has the best results. Which I think it kind of aligns, especially with like the exhalation part. When we're exhaling, please forgive me. It's the longest one. It ties right into it. For me, I've heard people go back and forth, say it doesn't matter. Me personally, I've found in this order produces the best results. Yes.
If you think that someone may have an entity, but there may not believe or be receptive to this stuff, can you clear it without their permission?
Absolutely, because the only thing I need is permission through their higher self, which is usually what they're not connecting with or understanding or listening to. I'm not knocking on the door of the car. I'm opening up the door and talking to who's behind the wheel. So as long as I get permission from their higher self, then we're good to go. But yeah, without permission, I wouldn't do it.
Any protections that people should consider before taking on this work?
Before you pick up or before you do any of this stuff, make it part of your ritual, calling light. Protect yourself in the light. Call upon the assistance of beings of light to help guide you. One of the other things I usually do is I ask, as the pendulum's spinning, that only information that serves the highest good come through the use of this pendulum. Because even if you do it wrong, as long as your intention is to serve the highest good of all concerned, nothing bad's going to go anywhere. It might not work because that might be a karmic issue that a person has to deal with, and they need to understand that they need to quit being so judgmental and ripping on anybody else that disagrees with them and hold more balance in their life. So you might try and clear that entity, and it might not work because they might have to deal with it a little bit, because one of the things when we have entities come in our life is they're a great teacher. They might be an annoying mosquito, but they are a great teacher, because if we ourselves are in turmoil, or we feel lost, or we feel disconnected, or we feel angry about stuff, those are the kind of entities that are going to show up in our house. And so once we make that connection, oh, they're going through the same stuff I'm going through, or their life, they were dealing with the same stuff. We share that information on a soul level. We clear it there, move on to the next one, which there will be a next one. Yes?
Just association, because you mentioned mosquito. I tend to get attacked by mosquitoes or like a fleas or like a the other day we went picnic with group of 20 people. No one else but me bitten, or I got bitten over my body or something.
What's your blood type?
Oh.
That's why. My wife is the same thing. If you guys heard, it's because she's getting bit by mosquitoes a lot, right? I'll go walk outside in shorts and a t-shirt and I won't get a single one. I keep telling her all these tattoos make me look poisonous, and so they leave me alone. But with her, she also is type O, and there's a certain smell that comes with it that is very attractive to him. So yeah, if you're getting attacked by mosquitoes, it's probably because you have type O blood. You got the rare stuff. Any other questions, you guys? Well, if you guys happen to come up with a question later that you're like, oh, I forgot to ask that or something, you can shoot me an email. I'm very happy to respond to you guys. I'm going to be over in the vendor's booth for about the next hour, but unfortunately, I'm going to be leaving really soon, so I'm only going to be here till about 11:30, and I got to go catch a flight back to Portland. So hopefully next time when I come down to the conference, I'll be able to hang out and meet more of you guys. But thank you so much for your time and being here. I really appreciate you guys, and God bless you.